for speaking with us. While the Trump administration is intensifying its scrutiny of U.S. universities, focusing on Harvard University, the Department of Education demanded that Harvard provide records of foreign funding going back a decade as part of a wider investigation into potential foreign influence on the institution. The government claims Harvard has made incomplete disclosures of foreign donations, which exceed $250,000 annually, and is demanding more transparency. This is the latest move in the Trump administration's broader crackdown on universities over various culture war issues such as pro-Palestinian protests and diversity programs. The administration has threatened to withhold federal funding from these institutions, citing concerns about foreign influence, particularly regarding protests linked to the Gaza conflict. Trump has also called for restrictions on diversity initiatives and an end to student protests, framing them as a threat to national security. Harvard has rejected these demands, asserting its independence and academic freedom, while the Trump administration stands firm, stating the records request is necessary to prevent foreign manipulation. This escalation follows a series of actions aimed at reducing perceived liberal bias and curbing pro-Palestinian sentiments on campuses. Mr. Ravinder Sachdev, international affairs expert, is joining us at this point in time. Mr. Sachdev, appreciate you being here with us. Well, there are two sides to this particular equation. Harvard, one of the leading universities in the world that has produced perhaps the maximum number of Nobel laureates, presidents, and various prime ministers and leaders for the rest of the world, is at loggerheads with the American government. Well, they say that liberal democratic values are at play at Harvard University. The government of America insists that this is against the state sentiment. Where do you stand on this?
Thank you so much, Vineet. I think you've captured very succinctly in various aspects in your comments here. Firstly, Harvard is actually older than the United States of America by, I think, over 150 odd years or 100 years older than the formation of the country itself. One. Sorry. Secondly, yes. What started as coming under the microscope for the protests related to Gaza and Israel and anti-Semitic activities has now broadened into wider areas of overall culture wars, as you're saying. These are wars of cultural wars. These are ideological wars. Essentially, the Trump administration and Trump and his base looks at Harvard and other universities as, bastions of liberal thought, bastions of woke ideologies, LGBTQ, gay, lesbian, pride movements, etc., right? And that is something they want to decimate, one. Second, they also look at these institutions as elite. And if we see the whole Trump campaign and presidency has been against the elite, the elite who are ruling America, so to say, or controlling America. So these things are combining into this, this fight with Harvard, and Harvard is fighting back. So this would actually, I think this could snowball into a much bigger fight. If you see, Columbia University about a month ago was also served similar notices, and their grant of about $400 million was held back, right? Apparently, they agreed to all terms which the Trump administration had sent. But now, Columbia is backtracking. They're saying that we are in discussion with the administration. Yes, we will roll back some things. We may not be able to, because the university, Columbia itself, is coming under pressure from various quarters, whatsoever be. Now, if Harvard stands up, I think this would snowball. Now, Harvard definitely faces a financial calculus. If you look at the numbers, Harvard's annual expenditure is around $6 to $7 billion. Its annual income is also around $6 to $7 billion, out of which about $2 to $3 billion are coming from the $54 billion endowment fund they have. Interest of that comes into here, so about $3 odd billion. Then about $1.5 billion come from student revenues. Now, Trump administration is also saying that, and Harvard has about 1/3, I think about 7,000 students of international origin out of the total body of over 20,000. Trump administration is saying that if you don't comply, then we will withdraw your capability to issue, the I-94 or the F4 to get students on a F1 visa into the US. That would certainly, chop off about 1.5 billion in theory, right? If total all of it was stopped from the total 6 billion that they need to run the university. But I mean, they'll have to. So there will be major implications. So Harvard right now is going out on a fundraising spree. It is reaching out to its alumni, and many alumni who were previously not giving any money, routinely, because they do fundraisers, all universities, are now giving money because they think that the university is fighting back for something in which they believe. Whereas some alumni who were giving big dollar amounts earlier have withdrawn their support after the anti-Israeli and pro-Hamas protests at Harvard University. So they're facing that whole flux with respect to their fundraising. So with regards to financials, they'll have to do some serious rethinking. But apparently they will not. I think they will not agree to the conditions which the Trump administration has set out, which are very drastic conditions. Not only that, okay, fine, the environment in your university is, friendly to all students, be it any Jews or whatsoever, etc., faith. But the requirements are that, your professors and your curriculum has to be vetted, will be, devoid of any descriptions or any relevance to this whole diversity, equity, inclusiveness agenda, your hiring, etc. So those are conditions which are very, very drastic conditions. So I don't. Having seen their stance right now, I think Harvard will continue to stand up, but it remains to be seen how this fight will play out.
Mr. Sachdev, how is this likely to, in fact, dent the Ivy League ecosystem for a long time in the United States? Let's not forget that these are league of universities, which have governed themselves, which have produced results both economically as well as administratively, which have yielded a lot of respect for America. Is that on the verge of some sort of a compromise, according to you?
I do think so. In fact, just today morning, I was talking to my sister's son, my nephew. He did his MBA from Harvard Business School. I asked him a similar question. And his response was also this, that it will harm the brand equity. It will harm the equity of the university. Because going forward, see, anything which becomes controversial, which becomes radioactive, people generally tend to not, avoid that. For example, if let's say there is some corporate, let's say Facebook, right? If they have a senior official who's an ex-Harvard, okay, you go to a meeting with the Trump team and this Harvard guy was okay so far. But now, if you introduce your chief financial officer as an alumni of Harvard University, that comes with a downside. And with Trump, for example, it is known that if there are any alumni of Wharton School of Business, which Trump himself attended, Georgetown, where one or a couple of his sons attended, he has a soft corner. Oh, you went to Wharton, great school, right? So now, in his ecosystem, amongst his advisors and all, anybody who has credentials from, let's say, Harvard especially, who's standing up against Trump, will be looked with, skepticism, and will therefore reduce, somewhat reduce. I wouldn't say job opportunities, but
all right,
yes, the potential for Harvard alumni.
Mr. Sachdev, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much. Well, some breaking news coming.